Most of us are taught that history is a timeline of wars, kings, and dates. But underneath those loud events, our daily lives are dictated by structures we can't even see. Think of it as an invisible architecture. There are the social norms we silently accept, the legal systems we obey, and the personal ambitions that inevitably push back against both. The most potent of these forces is the social norm. It is so deeply embedded in our routines that we don't even recognize it as a human construct. It simply feels like absolute reality. This diagram compares our modern 8-hour sleep schedule with how medieval Europeans slept. Before artificial light, humans naturally followed a 2-part cycle called segmented sleep. Right after sundown, people turned in early and drifted off into what they called their first sleep. About 4 hours later, they woke up. This gap was known as the watch, a deliberate waking period in the middle of the night. People used this time to read, tend to the fire, check livestock, and socialize. Medieval manuals even noted it as the ideal time for intimacy, since the body was well rested. After an hour or two, they would return to bed for their second sleep, which lasted until sunrise. And that bed was rarely a private space. A typical peasant slept on a rough straw pallet, often sharing the exact same pile of hay with extended family, passing travelers, and occasionally the family pig, just to share body heat and survive the drafty winters. The night was also terrifying. Medieval sleepers treated bedtime prayers as spiritual insurance, formal legalistic confessions and soul-cleansing clauses meant to mitigate the risk of dying unwashed before dawn. To a peasant in the 1300s, waking up at 2 a.m. to pray next to a goat wasn't strange. It was just how the world worked. Social norms construct the absolute boundaries of our daily lives. But those boundaries can turn dangerous when people in power weaponize them against us. If social norms act as invisible walls, legal systems are the iron bars. In the winter of 1692, the Puritan village of Salem, Massachusetts was already fracturing under the stress of failed crops, brutal weather, and frontier conflicts. Inside these stark, timber-framed homes, paranoia was simmering. When 2 young girls in the local minister's household began suffering from unexplained convulsions and screaming fits, a doctor delivered a terrifying diagnosis: witchcraft. The fear spread rapidly, and a local legal framework meant to maintain order was entirely unprepared for the communal panic that followed. To deal with the crisis, a special court was formed with a fatal flaw. The judges allowed the use of spectral evidence. This meant that if a witness claimed they saw someone's ghost or spirit attacking them in a dream, the court accepted it as hard, undeniable legal proof. You cannot cross-examine a dream. Stripped of the need for physical evidence, neighbors used the court to settle old grudges and property disputes. The accusations quickly trapped social outcasts and eventually highly respected citizens. 19 people were hanged and hundreds more were imprisoned. Salem demonstrates that legal frameworks do not automatically produce justice.
When a society's legal system is infected by panic and abandons the requirement for evidence, the law operates as a blunt instrument for systemic oppression. So how do you dismantle a rigid or corrupted system? You need individual, forceful ambition. In the 1st century BCE, the Roman Republic was unraveling amidst civil wars and populist revolts. Rome's elite patriarchal culture demanded that women serve as quiet, obedient ornaments to their politically active husbands. Fulvia was born into this environment, yet she possessed a high education, massive wealth, and an acute understanding of how political leverage actually worked. She completely discarded the expectations placed on Roman women. By her 3rd marriage to Mark Antony, Fulvia stepped directly into the power vacuum of a volatile Rome. While Antony campaigned abroad, she managed his patronage networks, commanded urban street gangs, financed loyal troops, and dictated policy. When Octavian threatened Antony's interests, Fulvia provoked the Perusian War, raising 8 legions to fight Octavian in Italy. Fulvia's face appeared on state-issued silver, marking her as the first Roman woman to wield official political weight in the palm of a soldier's hand. Although male historians quickly tried to erase her legacy and blame her for Rome's disorder, her actions reveal a core truth. Rigid hierarchies are incredibly vulnerable to a single, ambitious disruptor, willing to ignore the rules of engagement. In August 1963, 250,000 people converged on the National Mall. It was the first time collective ambition had been organized at this scale to confront the specific legal mechanisms of segregation. Coordinating a crowd of this size required precisely synchronized systems for transportation, food, and safety, all while the federal government actively monitored the movement's leaders.
Behind the scenes, the master strategist making this possible was Bayard Rustin. Operating under immense pressure, he coordinated travel, medical stations, and precise crowd control marshals for over 250,000 attendees, bringing the entire massive vision to life in just 8 weeks. The execution of the march demonstrates that meaningful societal shifts don't manifest out of thin air. They require disciplined, highly coordinated ambition to physically rewrite the rules of a nation. The most enduring moment of that day occurred when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. set his prepared notes aside. Prompted by gospel singer Mahalia Jackson, he launched into his unscripted "I Have a Dream" passage, securing a new moral baseline in the minds of the American public. That unified pressure yielded hard, structural results. Within 2 years, the federal government passed the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act, striking lethal blows to the legal foundation of segregation. But passing a law doesn't instantly erase deep-seated social norms. The march originally demanded fair wages and economic equality, issues that continue to drive friction and inspire modern movements to take to the streets today. The invisible architecture of our world is held together by consensus and enforcement. History clearly shows that when human ambition changes, the laws and norms once thought permanent often follow suit.